Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast live on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I would just want to give a special shout out to everyone listening right now, everyone viewing this. Thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Sorry that I'm late. Um, we ended up ordering a pizza from Pizza Hut, and I thought that I'd wait a few minutes to see if the delivery guy was going to come, but he hasn't come yet. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to go ahead and go live. So that's the reason why I'm a little bit late. I thought maybe he'll knock on the door or something like that, but it is what it is. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. This is round two of the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. And the brackets are looking like this. Okay. Corey White will be taking on Jason Smoke Turkey David. Fred Thomas will be taking on Ken Crawley, and Patrick Robinson will be taking on Brandon Browner. And three of these individuals are going to move on to the final round of the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. That's right. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started. First up, we have Corey White taking on Jason Smoke Turkey David. Now, both of these guys right here, to move on to the second round, you gotta suck, okay? You gotta be pretty bad in order for you to move on to the second round. Both of these guys, well, let's just be honest about this. They never really did much for the New Orleans Saints. You got Corey White, who was drafted. He came out of Sanford. He was a big physical guy. It was during the time where the New Orleans Saints wanted to be like the Seattle Seahawks when they hired Rob Ryan to kind of coach the defense, and they wanted to be a mirror of the Legion of Boom. And they thought that Corey White, being about 6'1", 210 pounds, they thought that he would be one of those big physical guys, but it didn't pan out. It wasn't a good look. Corey White was slow. Corey White had bad technique, and he was getting smoked up and down the field. It was an absolute embarrassment to see Corey White on the field. And, the only thing I can say about Corey White is he wasn't a Sean Payton pick. He wasn't a Sean Payton pick. This was during the time where Sean Payton was actually suspended, and he was one of those guys that will end up getting drafted, because Sean Payton was absent from the team. So Corey White, even though he was bad, he wasn't a Sean Payton guy. And then we have Jason David, who also wasn't a Sean Payton guy, but he was terrible. I mean, he was just absolutely terrible. The Saints paid him a whole lot of money in order for him to come to the team to try to make the secondary better. He was a zone corner who the Saints paid like an outside corner, and I just can't get that Andre Johnson, Houston Texan game out of my head. So if I had to choose between two of these guys, the two of them, who is going to move on to the final round, I mean, this is a no-brainer. Jason David was worse than Corey White. Jason David made Corey White look like Deion Sanders, okay? If you look at the money that Jason David got, if you look at the way that Jason David played and the expectations, I mean, you have to say that Jason David was the worst out of the two. So Jason David will be moving on to the final round of the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. Next, we have Fred Thomas versus Ken Crawley. Now, Ken Crawley was a guy who the Saints ended up making a number two corner, back in 2017. Ken Crawley, with his green mouthpiece, played pretty good, I must say, man. Coming out of Colorado, Ken Crawley, undrafted free agent, he exceeded expectations, and the Saints put him in the lineup. And he played pretty decent on the opposite side of Marshall Lattimore. He was part of that rookie regime that came with the New Orleans Saints, and he was jamming guys up, man. I never forget, Ken Crawley, when it came to the deep balls in his first year, I mean, he was, doing some pass deflections and stuff like that. But year two, I guess he was reading his press clippings and it didn't pan out. You know what I'm saying? It ended up like being really, really bad. Started in training camp, him getting smoked by all wide receivers. And then it kind of trickulated into the regular season. And the Saints said, you know what? We had enough. So they decided to go and trade for Eli Apple to replace Ken Crawley. Ken Crawley was in street clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like he switched to be on special teams. They switched him to street clothes. You know, so Ken Crawley was pretty bad. And then he ended up never to be seen again in a Saints uniform. And the Saints ended up, releasing him, and he ended up getting picked up by the Miami Dolphins. And then you have Fred Thomas. You got Fred Thomas, man. Like Fred Thomas was just absolutely terrible. The Saints got him from the Seattle Seahawks. We had his I guess like the best numbers he ever had. You know what I'm saying? He had like 13 interceptions in a career. The most of the damage that he did was in a Seattle uniform. In the Saints uniform, I mean, this dude was just getting smoked, roasted and toasted. I just can't get Bernard Berrien out of my head. You know what I'm saying? Anytime the Saints played Bernard Berrien, Fred Thomas was out there getting posterized. Anytime a guy catch a touchdown on his back, laying back and just catching the ball like this, you have to say that the guy that was guarding him is pretty terrible. Fred Thomas got signed by New Orleans Saints to make the secondary better. Did not do that. Fred Thomas, to me, is the worst cornerback in Saints history. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as, as far as like his technique, as far as like his, recovery speed, he was pretty terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like all in all, you know what I'm saying? As far as his technique. Now, even though he's moving on to round 3, I guess I'm going to have a week to think about it. But I have to say, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, we might be able to finish this show tonight. But Fred Thomas will be moving on to round 3 of the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. Last but not least, we got Patrick Robinson taking on Brandon Browner. Now, Brandon Browner was picked up by the New Orleans Saints from the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. This guy had back-to-back Super Bowl championships. And to me, I feel like he signed on with the New Orleans Saints because for the simple fact that he wanted some money. This was a guy that was a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. So he really wasn't playing for anything. You know what I'm saying? He was basically playing just to get some money. He was a big physical guy. The first year, the Saints made him the captain of the secondary. And Brandon Browner did not live up to expectations. I think he only had like 1 interception. I think it was against the Philadelphia Eagles in the back of the end zone. But after that, I mean, he was getting holding calls. He was getting pass interference calls. He was out there he was just out there. And I'll never forget when Dennis Allen and him went back and forth, had an argument, getting upset, you know what I'm saying, at Brandon Browner for his lack of performance, his lack of technique, his lack of want to. And that's one of the reasons why, even though we criticize Dennis Allen, that's one of the reasons why I respect him as a defensive coordinator. He got into the face of Brandon Browner. He did not back down. He questioned the man's heart. And Brandon Browner, to me, didn't really have any. And then you have Patrick Robinson, man, who was actually the number 32 pick in the 2010 draft. Patrick Robinson, for the first time around for the New Orleans Saints, was an embarrassment. One of the worst draft picks the Saints ever had. He was out there getting smoked, roasted, and toasted. Bad ball skills, couldn't intercept the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, just terrible. I never forget Patrick Robinson against the Cleveland Browns. He had an opportunity to have 2 interceptions in the game. Both of the interceptions went right between his hands, and he jumping up and down, you know what I'm saying, like he a ball hawk or something. But Patrick Robinson, he's been terrible for the New Orleans Saints. Now, with the New England Patriots, he was ranked number 1 slot corner in the NFL according to Pro Football Focus. He definitely resurrected his career, and he was a Super Bowl champion. And the New Orleans Saints ended up picking him up. They thought that maybe he could benefit in a slot, but he's been injured most of his time with the New Orleans Saints. So if I had to choose between two of these guys, Patrick Robinson, Brandon Browner, I'm rolling with Brandon Browner. Brandon Browner was just absolutely terrible in the Saints uniform. Patrick Robinson, I mean, he did have some good things going for him. You know what I'm saying? I remember the Tennessee Titans game, and before he gave up that big pass to Adam Thielen in the wild card round, he played pretty good. So I'm going to have Patrick Robinson not move on to the final round. I'm going to pick Brandon Browner. So when it comes down to it, round 3 will be Jason Smoke Turkey David, Fred Thomas, and Brandon Browner. They will be moving on to the final round of the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. So those are my 3 guys. Those are the final 3. And I'm looking forward to talking about those guys next week. And even though I'm going to be honest with you, being a little bit of a spoiler, might change my mind, but Fred Thomas is looking like the guy that is going to be the worst. But I could be wrong when I think about it and analyze it. But those 3 guys are going to be moving on to the final round of the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. Thank you very much for tuning in, man. Everybody out there, I really do appreciate your time. And I must say, I know I was a little bit late, but once again, man, I was waiting on a pizza man. And I thought maybe he'll show up, but he has not shown up yet. I'm kind of hungry right now. Me and my girl ordered pizza. She just got off work not too long ago, and I didn't feel like cooking. So, like I said, that's the reason why we were late tonight. Brian says hi. Said, I might not come on tonight. Yeah, I never thought about not coming on tonight. You know what I'm saying? That didn't even cross my mind. It was just, I'm on CP time. And for all my people out there, y'all know what CP time is. Let's see. Man said he's not coming on tonight. Have some faith in me, Brian. What's up, TJ, the host? That's okay. Eli Apple is the worst. I disagree with that. Eli Apple is not the worst cornerback in Saints history. First off, he had some good games. And y'all have to admit, man, before he went down in that Chicago Bears game, Eli Apple was pretty doggone good throughout the season. And we can't forget when Marshawn Lattimore was hurt, he was locking up Tampa, those Tampa Bay wide receivers. So he definitely not the worst. My favorite corner is Fred Thomas. Boy, Joe, you must be out of your mind. You must be on that high-grade weed if he your favorite cornerback. Jerry says, hey, who that? What's going on, Jerry? Brian says, did you get sleep today? No, I did not, man. I got off from the radio station. I got home like around 2, and I tried to lay down and close my eyes, but it's just not in me, man. That's not the way I roll. I'm just not used to like falling asleep in the middle of the day like that, so I didn't get any sleep. So this might be a pretty short show tonight. Jason Burnt David. We like to call him Smoke Turkey. You know what I'm saying? I like to call him Smoke. That's what I'm start calling him. Smoke Turkey. Smoke. You know what I'm saying? Smoke Turkey. That's what I'm going to call him. PJ is becoming the worst. I don't want to say PJ is the worst, man. PJ does some good things. PJ is just terrible when you line him up on the outside. If you line him up on the inside or put him at safety, I think he'll be all right. I heard the Tampa Bay Buccaneers owner say he's going to try to have 25 capacity in the stands this year. What do you think about that? Well, if he can try to get fans in the stands and it don't affect anybody, it don't hurt anybody, it don't cause anybody any hardship, the pandemic is going on. If he can do it like that, then okay, but you just got to be careful, man. I understand that people want to see their favorite team play, but man, don't risk your life and don't risk your health trying to go out to a game. I just couldn't do it, man. As much as I love the Saints, I could not see myself in the Superdome cheering for him, when I know that a pandemic is going on. And I'm skeptical about the fact that I don't know all these people in the stadium or in the stands. I don't know what these people have. So I'd rather just say who that from the house. But if he can pull that off, then and everybody is okay with it, then go for it. But it wouldn't be me. Your worst cornerback segment is hilarious, but one guy I think you forgot on your list is Devontae Harris. Honestly, I didn't forget Devontae Harris. The reason why I don't have Devontae Derrick is simple. He was not a starter. Okay, he wasn't a starter. He wasn't a guy that the Saints relied on to be, like a top corner, or he was a part of the rotation. The reason why I put Ken Crawley in front of him because Ken Crawley was legitimately a number 2 corner in 2017. Devontae was just a guy who kind of filled in, kind of like a Usama Young type role. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what he was. So that's the reason why I didn't put him. Fred Toast Thomas. Yeah, man. I mean, he looking like my worst corner of all time. I gotta take a week to figure it out. Well, once I put the numbers together, maybe it'd be different. But right now, he the front runner. Fred Thomas moving to the next round. Yeah, definitely. I don't think that was a surprise to nobody, I call Fred Thomas Method Man. Man, don't disrespect Method Man like that. Method Man is one of the greatest lyricists of all time, part of the Wu-Tang Clan. I will not affiliate Method Man with Fred Thomas. I will not. Brandon Browner was slow, among other things, Tramal, among other things. Browner stole money. I definitely believe that. He definitely stole money. He ran off with the bag. I definitely believe that. Brandon Penalty Browner. Yeah. Always had a penalty. Led the NFL in most penalties in history. He had more penalties than any other cornerback in NFL history. I mean, I don't know if that's something that you need to brag about, but at least you're in the history book. I don't know if you can go to Canton for that, but hey. Browner, a.k.a. the Grabber. That man, that was toast. Absolute toast. I mean, honestly, terrible. Dez Bryant killed him for 2 touchdowns in 1 game. Yeah, he was getting posterized. I remember that time when Ted Ginn would have had about 4 touchdowns. Hot garbage. And that's from Jerry Poole. Hot garbage. Absolutely. Brandon Browner, the money grabber. Yep. He already had his 2 Super Bowls, so he was basically just playing for money, right, at that particular point. Wrong. Wrong about what? Troy Young. What were we wrong about? Stanley Jean-Baptiste. I thought about putting him on a list. I thought about it, but I mean, I had to look at it. I don't think he was a Sean Payton draft pick, if I'm mistaken. Maybe he was. I don't know, man. But I didn't put him on the list because I don't know what to think about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only thing I could say about him was the Saints drafted him in the 2nd round and he didn't play. He didn't play. Like, that's the reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have anything to go on Stanley Jean-Baptiste. I didn't see him play. So it would be like wrong for me to put him in there because it's like I'll just be putting them in there based on expectations. The guys that I put on this list, I actually saw play. I actually saw these guys in real action. I didn't see Stanley Jean-Baptiste play at all. Hello, TJ. Easy answer. Is Fred Thomas coming close? Is Brandon Browner? Like I said, right now, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. You know, like Fred Thomas looking like my worst cornerback of all time. But like I said, round 3 is next week. I might change my mind once I break everything down and research and analyze. Then maybe, you know what I'm saying, like it might change. But right now, it's looking like Fred Thomas. All wrong. I don't know about all wrong. I don't know what that means. You got to specify. Can you cook? Yeah, I can cook. You know, I can cook certain things. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying I'm up in here like I'm Emerald Lagasse or, you know what I'm saying, the Onion Man back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like some of y'all may know what the Onion Man is. I can't think of that guy's name, but If you from New Orleans, you know I'm talking about, the old guy with the white hair. He had the glasses. He always was cooking Cajun food. He always say, "I guarantee it." Y'all know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, I can cook a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? If I call my mom up, I definitely can cook. You know what I'm saying? Because I follow directions perfectly. My mom is a great cook, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So if I feel like cooking something or something I don't know how, I hit up on the FaceTime, man, and she walked me through it, and it be on off the chain. Devontae Harris, definitely one of them. Like I said, Devontae Harris, the reason I didn't put him on the list is that's crazy how we got Devontae Harris, who is a good player, and then we got Devontae Harris, who was horrible, right? That's crazy. That's crazy how that panned out. But I didn't have him on the list because, like I said, he was a rotation player. He wasn't a starter. Marshawn Lattimore, the best Saints player ever, in my opinion. I won't say the best player ever, but he definitely the best cornerback the Saints ever had. Hands down. Yeah, Joe High. I don't know who Joe High is. You're right, Brian. Lattimore definitely the best. He the best cornerback the Saints ever had, in my opinion. Jason David and Brandon Brown, a period. Might be. You know what I'm saying? But one of those guys are going to end up being the worst cornerback in Saints history out of those three. Devontae Harris should have been on the list because he was so trash. Dill Pickle, like I said, man, the reason I put him on the list is simple. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a starter. Now, he wasn't good, but I mean, what is that really? You know what I'm saying? Like a guy who comes in on that was a special team player that was a dominant special teams, as far as like, you know what I'm saying, most of his snaps were on special teams. What's the point of putting him on the list when you know what type of player he was? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was on the field because the depth was slim and few and far in between. So that's the reason why he was on the list. I mean, not on the list, because nobody expected anything from him. He wasn't a starter. He wasn't a slot corner. He wasn't a guy that was out there, you know what I'm saying, for the majority of the snaps. He was out there, somebody, you know what I'm saying, got rolled up on, or the leg got hurt, So that's the reason why he didn't make the list. Fred Thomas used to have me cracking up the way his eyes looked like they were about to pop up whenever a pass was coming his way. Fred, yes, wide open Thomas. Yeah, man. And the thing about it is, what really trying to tick me off about Fred Thomas was the fact that he had his socks pulled all the way up. You know what I'm saying? Like he was Deion or something. And he was up there all close to the line of scrimmage, like he about to lock somebody up. Man, sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just an embarrassment, man. Like pull your socks down. You know what I'm saying? Sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? Like he just was horrible, bro. Like if for you to pull your socks all the way up, you know what I'm saying, to your kneecaps, man, you better be locking somebody up. You know what I'm saying? Pull your socks down, okay? If you out there getting smoked, okay? You're an embarrassment to Deion Sanders. You're an embarrassment to Mel Blount. You're an embarrassment to all the other great corners out there who used to put their socks up to their kneecaps. I mean, man, chill out, boy. Chill out. D. Granger says, what up, TJ? What station are you on? The station that I'm on is called 90.9 FM Radio Baha'i. It is WLGI. You can look that up on Google, WLGI or radiobaha'i.us. I'm on in right now. I'm on in the mornings and the afternoons. I'm filling in for one of the radio personalities. He's out sick right now. I'm wishing him a speedy recovery. But 90.9 FM, WLGI, you can catch me in the morning. It's 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch me 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. So, yeah, I'm on that station. How well do you know football, bro? LOL. I like to think that I know football pretty well. I gotta say, I think I'm pretty well-rounded. I think I know football. What you think about Delvin Bro? Think he had one good season for the New Orleans Saints, and after that, not so much. You know what I'm saying? Stayed hurt. And I can't forget about him looking up in the sky like this, you know what I'm saying, against the Jaguars, you know what I'm saying, when he couldn't, no, against Tampa Bay when he couldn't locate the ball. But he was okay, you know what I'm saying? I respect his story. I like him and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying, like where he came from. So, yeah, but he only had one good season for the Saints. Jason Bellamy was sorry too. Yeah, he was pretty bad. Yeah. Jay Bellamy, yeah, he was pretty bad. Devontae Harris couldn't catch COVID-19 if he tried. Yeah, he couldn't catch a cold in 40 below. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't catch a cab in New York. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't catch a case if he actually committed the crime. Yeah, he was pretty bad, man. No doubt. State of the Saints podcast. Reason I said this is because of the face between Fred Thomas and Method Man. Yeah, man. I just say, man, like I just don't feel like Method Man need to be affiliated with such trash. You know what I'm saying? Like that boy, that was BFI garbage. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he was just trash. You know, unrecyclable. Brandon Browner, hands down. Yeah, we don't know. Tune into round 3. He may be the worst. Marshawn Lattimore Madden rating is 86. What more Lattimore has to prove? Well, Lattimore has to prove that he can be a dominant corner. I mean, sometimes, you know, he let some of those guys get past. I just think that he needs a full body of work, a full season where he just dominates and locks down guys. And I think he'll get the respect he deserves. Steve Gleason, what do you think about this guy? Do you think he was good or the worst in your opinion? Steve Gleason was not the worst. He was a really good special teams player. There's a reason why they have a statue of him outside the Superdome. Unfortunately, we all know about Steve Gleason, you know what I'm saying? He caught, you know what I'm saying, ALS, you know what I'm saying? Like, and but at the same time, they have raised so much money in the name of Steve Gleason. He has done so many things, you know, climb mountains. He's, you know what I'm saying, been a real true important part in the community of New Orleans. So, you know, I got a lot of respect for Steve Gleason. And you know, we can't forget about when he blocked that punt, you know, when the first game back in the Superdome. And I mean, it was an emotional moment. So Steve Gleason is definitely a symbol of hope, and he's a great human being, you know what I'm saying, for everything that he's done. And you know, unfortunately, he caught a disease that's uncurable at this time, but he's still a wonderful human being. And you know, I hope he has longevity here on this earth, you know, even though, you know, ALS don't allow people to live that long, but he has exceeded expectations because he's been around for a long time with the disease. By the way, I'm in California, like yours, how, bro? I don't know what that means. What like yours, how mean? I see you're in California, so shouts out to California, man. You know, man, it's pretty early out there right now, right? So it's about 7 o'clock. So shouts out to Troy Young out there in Cali, man. Out there where the sunshine is. It's been raining all day out here in South Carolina where I'm at. Corey White. Nah, Corey White, man, I let him chill, man. He not gonna move on to the 3rd round. He definitely second round. He definitely second round terrible, but he definitely not final round terrible. He ain't reached that point. Justin Wilson. Justin Wilson, what with the snot rag, yeah. But it is you wasn't that bad. So you can cook, but can you fart? Yeah, it depends on what I eat, man. Depends on what I eat, I can fart. Depends on what I eat. Depends on what I eat, I'll be ripping them. But thank you very much for the $2, man. I appreciate it. Trying to see where I'm at. I lost my spot. Where you from, TJ? I am from New Orleans, Louisiana. Born and raised, man. Born and raised in New Orleans. I was born and raised in the Ninth Ward. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm certified New Orleans. You know, I left New Orleans when I was 19 back in 2005 because of Hurricane Katrina. But I was born and raised in the Ninth Ward. I attended Lorraine V. Hansberry Elementary School, formerly known as B.M. Palmer Elementary. I also attended Charles Joseph Colton on St. Claude. Charles Joseph Colton Middle School. I attended Frederick Douglass, which is also on St. Cloud. And when me and my brother actually got in a fight when I was in 10th grade, my mama took us out of Frederick Douglass, and I graduated from George Washington Carver High School, and I attended Dillard University for 1 year before Hurricane Katrina hit, transferred to Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi, where I got my degree in communications. But I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, born and raised, certified New Orleans, like a po' boy sandwich, a hot sausage on French, dressed from Magnolia. Yes, sir. I am from the NO. What was your most underrated and most overrated Saint player in your opinion? Most overrated Saints player, in my opinion, hands down, Jimmy Graham. The most underrated Saints player of all time, Pierre Thomas. That is my picks. I did not like, I don't want to say I ain't like, but he left a lot to be desired, Jimmy Graham. You know, I feel like he played good against the competition that, you know what I'm saying, that was kind of low. But when it came to like really trying to ball out, I feel like he kind of crumbled under pressure. Pierre Thomas was given absolutely nothing in the Saints uniform. Sean Payton tried so many ways to not get this guy an opportunity to be on the field, but he exceeded expectations. No matter who he put as a starting running back, Pierre Thomas will always come in and play better than that guy. So Pierre Thomas was definitely the most underrated Saints player, and Jimmy Graham, with his old soft behind, was the most overrated Saints player, in my opinion. You right about Marshawn and Emerald, my dude. Bam! Absolutely right, man. Emerald Lagasse, man. Shouts out to him, man. Anybody ever been to Emerald restaurant, you already know the food be good. And Marshawn Lattimore, man, come on, man. We've been trying to find a lockdown corner for years, and he's definitely the one. Which me personally, I don't understand like how people be giving Marshawn Lattimore a hard time. Like, did you see the riffraff? The fact that I could actually bring up 12 guys like this, like it didn't even take me no time. You know, I remember when a viewer of the State of the Saints asked me to do this list. I mean, it took me no time to fill this out. Like, it wasn't like I was like, I'm maybe for like one or two names. I was like, But for the first 10, I was like, just like that. You know what I'm saying? Like clockwork. I could just pick them out right out the head, just like that. So Marshawn Lattimore, to me, is a breath of fresh air. So anybody around here just criticizing this guy like this, like, come on, man. Look who he's compared to. Who can you possibly compare him to besides probably Jabari Greer? Jabari Greer, to me, probably the second greatest cornerback in Saints history to me. And yeah, I would say he's about the second, you know. And that's and between Jabari Greer and Marshawn Lattimore, I mean, it's like night and day. Like, he's 5-6 times better. I don't want to say 10 times, but he is at least 5 or 6 times better than Jabari Greer. And Jabari Greer is the best cornerback in Saints history to me. Even better than Tracy Porter. You know, Tracy Porter stayed hurt too many times for me. I think Tracy Porter, the stigma changed about him, of course, because of what he did in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. But he was not a better cornerback than Jabari Greer. He was not. And I don't put, as far as the second, I don't put Darren Sharp in there because Darren Sharp only had like 1 or 2 good years. So I say Jabari Greer was the best. But Marshawn Lattimore is better than him. TJ, what's your thought about Drew Brees' Madden rating higher than Brady? I agree with that. Brady is old. Drew Brees is a little bit younger than him. I think Drew Brees had like a 93 rating. But, I mean, it's Madden for God's sakes, man. It really don't count, you know. I mean, it is what it is, you know. But Drew Brees did have a better season last year than Tom Brady. Facts. Justin Wilson. Yeah, terrible. What about Joe Horn? What do you think about him? I think that Joe Horn is the 3rd greatest wide receiver in Saints history. I won't say NFL. Saints history. He's the 3rd greatest, okay? I feel like Michael Thomas is better than him. I feel like Marcus Colston was better than him. So he's the 3rd greatest wide receiver in Saints history. And for a long time, he was the best. A lot of people know him for pulling a cell phone out on Monday Night Football, but I like to remember him as a pretty dominant wide receiver in the South. Is it fair or foul to not have faith in our current secondary core? I think it's foul, Iceman. Like the secondary is not that bad. It's just the fact that they give up big plays in the worst times. Like we expect for them to perform at a high level throughout the game, but they always give up that play at the end of the game that just breaks our heart. So I say foul. Dwayne laughing right now. So Jason David has scared me for life, or has scarred me for life. Excuse me. Jason David has scarred me for life. Yeah, I don't say he was scarred me for life, but he was pretty terrible in his time. Hold up, TJ. What does his socks being up have to do with him being a bad corner? Iceman, look. If you followed the NFL back in the early 90s, Iceman, I really don't know how old you are, man. So, Iceman, just let me know how old you are, brother. But back in the day, high socks were for the elite cornerbacks. Like you seen Deion Sanders, he used to wear his socks high. If you look at it, it's like Darrelle Revis, Patrick Peterson. These guys wore their socks high or wear their socks high because of Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders kind of created that. You know what I'm saying? Like wearing those socks all the way up to the kneecaps. And when I seen Jason David doing this, man, I'm like, bro, pull your damn socks down. You know what I'm saying? That's like elite corner type stuff right there. You cannot wear high socks if you suck. Okay, for real. Like if you wearing high socks, man, you better be locking folk up. And that, what I'm saying, that was started by Deion Sanders. So when I think of high socks, I think of elite cornerback play. And we all can agree that boy did not have elite cornerback play. So pull your socks down and sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. As far as one of the best Saints DBs, you might want to research Tommy Meir. I might want to research him, but he wasn't better than Marshawn Lattimore, I'm sure. Looking back at Saints cornerback play. As long as I've been watching, now I'm 33 years old. I can say I've been watching the Saints since about 91. You know what I'm saying? As far as I can remember, I say probably around 94, 95. I have never seen anybody better than Marshawn Lattimore at the cornerback position. Hold up, TJ. You're on 90.9 FM. That's what's up. Yeah, man, I'm on 90.9 FM, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. normally Monday through Friday, but this week I'm on the air from 6 a.m. To 10 a.m. And also 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So I'm doing a double shift this week. Should Jameis Winston be a starter? Not this year. No enter zone. He should not be a starter. Jameis Winston should sit his behind down on the bench and have some mental reps. That's what he should do. I think Lattimore has some lazy tendencies. Am I wrong to think CJ is more hungry than him? Love last though. Check this out, man. Lattimore is, I don't want to call him lazy. I just think he get caught up in the light sometimes when everybody's throwing at Eli Apple, you know what I'm saying, and not really paying attention to you. You don't really expect the ball to come your way, so it kind of catch him off guard from time to time. CJ Gardner-Johnson is hungry because he's playing with empty pockets. Think about this, Iceman T. You're comparing a first-round pick to a third or fourth round? No, he was a fourth-round pick. A fourth-round pick. So, of course, a fourth-round pick is more hungry than a first-round pick. A first-round pick is expected to, change the team. You know what I'm saying? At whatever position he's at. So, of course, he's going to be more hungrier, but he's not better than Lattimore. But I will say, you know what I'm saying, like sometimes he get caught up in the lights. That I would agree with. Josh and Jesus, thank you very much for the $2, brother. He says Lattimore doesn't give it his all sometimes. I agree with that sometimes. Like I said, I feel like, he has a little bit of Randy Moss in him, but for the most part, man, he does his job pretty well. I think sometimes it depends on like the matchup. When he goes up against Julio, he plays his best. When he goes up against Mike Evans, he plays his best. When he going up against somebody that he feels that is inferior to his talent, then he probably will slack off. And that's why I feel like he needs to, step his game up. TJ, here's my list of former high school players I knew personally who played in the NFL. Gray James, Glenn Montgomery, Mickey and Vance Joseph Shaw. Let me see, Gary and James, Detroit, and Glenn Montgomery with the Oilers. Okay, it's a good little list, man. I mean, I knew a few, man. I knew Mike Wallace. I played against Mike Wallace. I played against Keenan Lewis. Some of the players, that I seen before, Joe McKnight, I remember when, he came into the league. I used to watch him quite a bit. But those are the only guys that I know that I played against that ended up going to the league, Mike Wallace and Keenan Lewis. And Keenan Lewis was not that good in high school, Like he just wasn't. He was not that good. Oregon State helped him out a whole lot, because I can remember very vivid when Keenan Lewis was not that good. I knew that personally. Personally. And Mike Wallace wasn't that good either. He had terrible hands, but he always had like track speed. Fred Thomas is the best cornerback in Saints history. Okay, I'm lying. Well, you didn't even have to put in caps that you were lying. I just knew automatically, AJ. That's some troll material right there. My only critique on Lattimore is that he never played a full season and he don't be locked in for the long period of games. I agree with that. I can't disagree with you on that, Iceman T. You're absolutely right. I feel like he leaves something on the field, but he is pretty good, man. The only thing that stops him from like really being in the conversation from being the most elite cornerback is sometimes like you kind of get lost in the lights. Does Mark Ingram show up in the playoffs? Yeah, I mean, he show up in the playoffs. I think with Baltimore, man, like a lot of people, are not really paying attention to the fact that he ended up getting hurt like around week 15, if I'm not mistaken, when he had that calf injury. I don't think it was a calf injury. I mean, the fact that, nobody touched him and he went down, that was not a calf injury. They probably shot him up with something, gave him some painkillers, but he was not ready. Oh, bruh. Debo, the guy. Jason David. He also said Corey White. Yeah, man. Corey White should be on the list there, Debo. What's your reaction when you see another Saints fan in public? My reaction? Like it's funny you said that, AJ. I was actually at the store, man, and I seen a girl. She had a Saints shirt on, and I just gave her a compliment. I was like that shirt, But I think that she smiled or whatever like that. She was like, "Thank you." So, I mean, if I see like a Saints fan with a shirt on, or something like that, or some Saints, some Saints apparel on, I give it a. I give it a thumbs up, So acknowledge the fact that, I see them. What's up, TJ? Devron, what's going on? Gabriel says if Breeze had a defense like the Steel Curtain, we would never lose. I disagree with that because Drew Brees has lost us a few games when the defense was playing lights out. So we would lose some games, but we would really be dominant, But who knows, man? I would love to have a dominant defense. Never seen a dominant defense. Well, I seen a dominant defense, but I was too young to appreciate it with the Dome Patrol. Hold up, people. I'm not high. I'm just cracking jokes about Fred Thomas being my favorite. Yeah, we kind of figured that, Joe. Nobody thinks you serious when you say stuff. When you say stuff like Fred Thomas is the best, we automatically know you joking. You know, if you don't think he joking, then maybe something wrong with you. Mike McKenzie, Fred Thomas, Jason David, Corey White. Mike McKenzie should not be on that list, Debo. Mike McKenzie did some great things in the Saints uniform. I'll never forget when the Saints took on the New England Patriots on Monday night. I mean, he basically locked down. Well, not basically. He definitely locked down Randy Moss. So I will not put him on the list. Mike McKenzie was really decent for the Saints, above average. Eric Allen and Darrell Green wore their socks high. Well, Eric Allen was an all-pro, and he was a Pro Bowler, and he's in the Eagles Hall of Fame. So he deserves to wear socks high. And Darrell Green played 20 years in the NFL and one of the best cornerbacks in NFL history with the Washington Redskins. Okay, so Darrell Green, Eric Allen, they deserve to wear their socks high. Okay. A lot of people remember Eric Allen for being with the Saints, which he was a mere shell of himself at that time. He was just here for the money, in my opinion. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, Eric Allen was a really good cornerback. So pull your socks up. You know, they deserve to wear their socks high. Wes Chandler would have been one of our best wide receivers if he has stayed with the Saints, barring a good about play. Well, I don't know, man. Like the fact that I vaguely remember him, you know what I'm saying, in the Saints uniform tells me a lot. You know, I wouldn't say he would be one of the best because I don't remember him. I don't know what he did, you know. So, hey, TJ, what did I miss? I just got in. Did Fred Thomas get? No. Fred Thomas, he didn't get the title yet. You know what I'm saying? We got round 3 that's going to take place next Monday right here on the State of the Saints podcast YouTube channel. So he did move on to the final round, which is a surprise to nobody, I'm sure. You had to fight with Colton Middle School, and you a humble guy. Wow. If you could pick a Saints, if you can pick a Saints team any year that you would have to see in the Super Bowl any year, what team would I pick? If I can pick a Saints team, it would definitely have been the 2013 Saints when they lost to the 49ers. I feel like that was one of the best Saints teams. And the 2018 Saints, which I feel like were the best Saints teams in it. I would say one of the best teams in NFL history, in my opinion, and definitely in Saints history. That was a really solid, good team. The 2018 Saints, that is one of those teams you're going to look back and be like, dang, that is one of the best teams that never won a Super Bowl. That's going to be like if they did an NFL top 10 again, and I know they did one on the top 10 teams that never won a Super Bowl, the 2018 Saints would definitely be number one because that team was, man, last year they went 13-3, but the year before that, that was the best Saints team I ever seen. Like for real. Like they got to go down in history as the best team that never won a Super Bowl. If you count on the fact they were 13-3 and how they lost, they definitely were the best, one of the best teams all the time. I had the privilege to see Saints and Joe Horn one season after leaving KC. His speed was mind-boggling on San Diego Chargers field in 1997. Yeah, Joe Horn was pretty good, man. Like Joe Horn, very underrated. I feel like he was one of the best wide receivers of that era. You know what I'm saying? He fell into that category. He definitely was top 10, you know, among those wide receivers. So shouts out to Joe Horn. Even though, like, I know for a fact, you know, I mean, I know he's dealing with legal trouble. I haven't heard anything else from that. So I know he was supposed to, you know, the charges that was against him, he could possibly serve 18 years in prison, but I ain't hear nothing else about it. Maybe it was the pandemic or something like that, but it is what it is. Are you going to do the worst safeties in Saints history? If I do, it is going to be down the line. The next match, well, the next countdown or the bracket will be the worst quarterbacks in Saints history. That's coming pretty soon. Okay, so y'all be on the lookout for that. After the worst cornerbacks, it's gonna be the worst quarterbacks. Yo, State of the Saints podcast. What's up, Saints Nation? My question is, what do you think the Saints record is going to be? Do you think Drew Brees will make a Super Bowl run this year and win a Super Bowl? The Saints record to me, in my opinion, gonna be 11-5. And do I think that Drew Brees can make a Super Bowl run? Yes, I do. Pending if the Saints run the football, get a good balanced attack going, and if the defense plays much better and not give up big plays in crucial parts of the game to have us rip our hearts out of our chests year after year. Okay, so hopefully they can get better before he retires. Yeah, I don't know, man. This might be his last year, so hopefully he can get it done this year. Already read that. I think you put that twice. Jason David versus the Colts. Peyton Manning, 4 touchdowns on Jason David. Yeah, because he knew Jason David was trash on the outside. He knew. You go up against a guy at practice every single day. He lined up in the slot. You know what he can do. So that wasn't a surprise to me. And my favorite wide receiver, Marvin Harrison, was working that boy on that field. Probably like he was working him in training camp. Keenan Lewis wasn't highly recruited. He definitely wasn't highly recruited. He went to Oregon State, but I'm just saying, like, he wasn't that good in high school. I'm just being honest with you. Jeff Okudah gonna be the best rookie cornerback coming in the first season. I think he's gonna make it to the Pro Bowl next year. Hopefully he does, man. I mean, he's supposed to be highly ranked. Of course, he went to Ohio State and he got picked up by the Detroit Lions, and he's supposed to replace Darius Slay. So I'm rooting for the kid, man. You know, he's a good, solid kid. I've seen a couple interviews with him. He's a humble guy, so I'm rooting for him. Man, he wrote that again. And again. And again. What do you think about Jim Haslett as a New Orleans Saints head coach? I think that Jim Haslett was the first coach to lead the Saints to a Super Bowl victory. I think he was a very good defensive mind. He proved that with the Saints, and he proved that after he left the Saints with the Washington Redskins. But I feel like he's a better coordinator than he was a head coach. Okay, so I like Jim Haslett, though. Corey White used to be so burn prone to where I don't care if you put him in a slot, outside, inside the box, he still got burnt. The Saints signed him because he was a big physical presence at his position. 6'1", 212 pounds, 210 pounds. That's pretty big for a cornerback. So they thought maybe he can jam up some of those wide receivers and win some of those matchups against bigger, more bigger physical wide receivers, and it didn't pan out. So, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I love when women rock Saints stuff. Yeah, man, you know, like shouts out to all the women, the female members of the Who Dat Nation that tune into the State of the Saints podcast. We really do appreciate you. You know, thank you so much. Again, AJ, I wish we would have kept Ryan in a Zigbo. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Devon Zigbo, you know what I'm saying, was a good, solid running back. He reminded me a lot of Mark Ingram. But, I mean, the fact that we talking about missing running backs has a lot to do with the fact that Sean Payton doesn't run the football. And I think that we would change our mind and we wouldn't miss Devon Zigbo as much if the Saints actually ran the football and, you know what I'm saying, were successful doing so. So Mike got burnt a lot in the later end of his Saints career. Mike who? Mike who, Debo? Let me know who you talking about there, man. Answer my question. State of the Saints podcast. What's up? My question is, what do you think the Saints? I already answered your question. I said they were gonna go 11-5, and Drew Brees could possibly make a Super Bowl run. I answered your question. That's why I kept skipping it, man. No disrespect to you. I just, answered your question and, you know, I just decided to move on. But I do think they're gonna go 11-5, and I do think that Drew Brees has a possibility of making a Super Bowl run. Lattimore is the most talented cornerback in the league. Yeah, he one of them. He definitely one of the best. Brees, before Drew Brees retires. Hey, you keep asking the question, man. I answered it. I don't know if you didn't catch it or anything like that, but definitely answer your question, man. That's how I roll, man. I vaguely ever like stroll past somebody's question, what I'm saying, without answering it. If I do, I probably skipped it by mistake, but I definitely try to answer as many questions as I can. 03 Deuce versus 2018 Mark Ingram. Prime Joe Horn or Prime Colston? I'm going with Prime Colston, and I'm going with Prime Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram was a better running back than Deuce McAllister, and Marcus Colston was a better wide receiver, in my opinion, than Joe Horn. Joe Horn just had a little bit more confidence and more swag than Marcus Colston had. So Marcus Colston, if he had the swag of Joe Horn, I feel like he probably would have had more Pro Bowl appearances and probably would have been considered for all pro more. I just think that his silent and his quiet demeanor kind of, caused media writers and stuff like that to not write about him because they felt like he wasn't exciting. If Brady is better than Brees because of rings, then Edelman has to be better than Michael Thomas because of rings. Insane argument. Oh, and then James or White is better than Barry Sanders. Well, I don't think it's that, Josh. I like Drew Brees. I love him, but in clutch situations in the playoffs, for the exception of that 09 season, Drew Brees has not shown up. You know what I'm saying? There's been times in the playoffs where we see Tom Brady perform, and be clutch and drive his team down the field rather to set up a field goal or set up a touchdown. Tom Brady has more playoff moments than Drew Brees, and I don't feel like that's a slight. It don't make him better than him because of the rings. It's the fact that Tom Brady has shown that he can lead his team to the Super Bowl. It's been several times where Drew Brees has had a really good team that was Super Bowl bound and had a lot of potential to make the Super Bowl, but he didn't show up. So I don't think rings are the final verdict, but I will say that it depends on how you perform in the playoffs. And as we know, Drew Brees, for the most part, has been playing average at best, and his record reflects that with 8-8. '17, 18th. That was 2011. I don't know what. Okay, the 2011 Saints. Okay, yeah, Thank you very much, inevitable expertise. 2011 Saints were that good team that lost to the 49ers. Thank you. 19 was a bust, definitely was. 2011 was a bust, definitely was. Fred Toast Thomas, he definitely is. What if Fred Thomas was one on one side and Jason David on the other? Then I would cry every weekend. I would be crying every weekend because of the trash and the pathetic cornerback play that I would see. Joe Horn was super physical. He was, and he wasn't scared to go across the middle either. That's an easy choice. Jarius Byrd. Yeah, Jarius Byrd was pretty terrible. No more 12-4s. I don't believe that. It's possible. Peyton going to change it up with the mat with cute plays kill us in the playoffs. Say no more. You're absolutely right. Those cute plays be killing us every single playoffs and some of the games during the season too. The Washington football team and the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins and the New Orleans Saints. The Washington team versus the Saints in the conference championship game. Man, I don't know what you smoking over there, Brian, but pass it over here because I would like to feel the way you do right now for that bold prediction. The Washington Redskins or the Washington, whatever they calling themselves this season, man, they lucky they make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? The NFC Championship, man, hey, that ain't happening. The Jets versus Miami Dolphins and the other conference championship game that will be the final four this year, in my opinion. Man, first off, they got to have some special bracketing in order for the Jets to play the Miami Dolphins. That ain't happening, okay? Nobody want to see no Jets versus no Dolphins and no NFC Championship. They rarely want to see the Jets versus the Dolphins in a divisional run. I mean, a divisional regular season game. So why would anybody want to see that foolishness? I'm calling it foolishness in the playoffs. Nobody want to see that. Milton Mack, another garbage corner. Yeah, pretty bad. Jeff Okudah played like Gilmore to me. Well, I have to see him in a regular season and in the pros. Okay, so until I see that, then I'm going to reserve my judgment. But I heard he's pretty good, and from what I seen at Ohio State, yeah, he pretty much a lockdown. Can somebody please tell Sean Payton to run the football? Please, pretty please, for the love of God, please. It hurts initially when Drew said what he said, but now I don't know what to think even after his recant. I just hope he still has a fire for the game. Well, I think he has fire for the game. I don't think that his comments going to, you know what I'm saying, cause him to not be passionate. You know, I think he came back for a reason. I think he wants a Super Bowl championship, and hopefully he gets one. Robert Meacham had the best play in Saints history against the Redskins when he stripped the ball after Drew Brees picked it off and he scored with it. Yeah, man. I mean, it was one of the best plays in Saints history. I don't know about the best play in Saints history. It's clear they got. I mean, undisputed is the pick six by Tracy Porter. That got to be the best play in Saints history because it's solidified them as Super Bowl champions. You know, it put them ahead of the Colts. So I apologize for yawning, folks. I mean, it's been a long day for your boy. I apologize, but Tracy Porter, is hard to pick him. You know what I'm saying? Hard not to pick him. Corey White, the one had a pick six, but fumbled at the goal line. Huh? Yeah, Corey White was trash. Be looking out for this kid, Tony Jones, potentially the next PT. Yeah, Tony Jones, man. I looked out from Notre Dame, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I mean, he was pretty good at Notre Dame, so I don't know if he's gonna make the team, but I'll check him out. TJ, you just said Saints going 11-5. I got the Saints going 12-4 or 13-3. Saints are a good team. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're a good team, but I just think there's so many opportunities that you can get. You know, I think they're going to be a little bit of a decline as far as the record, you know, but I still think they're going to be among the best. I got them going 13-3 or higher. Well, you know, that's a lot of optimism, Mike. You know what I'm saying? You're entitled to your opinion. So I hope so. I hope they do. How is your week when the Saints win? A great week. When they win, you know, I'm happy, ready, looking forward to the next week. But when they lose, not so much. T.O. is my wide receiver GOAT. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the best receivers of all time. I wouldn't put him as my GOAT, you know, but I'm not mad at you for doing that. Boss man, I got Brandon Broner, like Adrian Broner, the worst cornerback in Saints history. Okay. I mean, he might be. I'm saying Fred Thomas right now because I'm emotionally invested in the fact that he sucked. Yeah, I know he sucked. And you know what I'm saying, but it might change after I break everything down and do my research. He's definitely top 5. I don't care what people say that he's out of position. He was a starting corner on the Pats and the Seahawks. The Jets and the Dolphins AFC conversation with me game and the Saints versus the Washington team this year. You got to be trolling us, Brian. You cannot possibly believe that the Redskins, the Dolphins, and the Jets are going to be in anybody's championship, be that as it may, like these some of the worst teams in the league. Nah. Stop trolling us, Brian. Other than the Falcons, who is the number one team that the Saints just cannot lose to? Mine is the Cowboys. I'm with you. I cannot stand the Dallas Cowboys. Overrated, overhyped. Still living off them rings back from 1995. We got 5 Super Bowls. We got 5 Super Bowls, man. You ain't win no Super Bowls in 95, man. A lot of us, you know what I'm saying, weren't even born. I was born, but I know a lot of people probably look at the state of the Saints, weren't even born when them boys won a Super Bowl for the last time. Overrated, overhyped, tired of hearing about them. They suck. But TJ, Drew can't play perfect every game, every playoff game. I mean, every quarterback has bad playoffs. I think we are being kind of hard on Drew. Not me. When you get paid that type of money, when you dominate the majority of the salary cap, and every single year you are not playing at a high level, Iceman, it would be one thing if he were just playing at a low level once. But it seemed like a reoccurring thing since, you know what I'm saying, besides the fact that, you know, they played in 2009. TJ, you have me laughing my ass off. That's what LMAO stands for. Fred Thomas wearing those all-white socks on his kneecaps was a big front, just like cats being tried to wear tape wrapped around their cleats as if they're all pro. Man, please. Absolutely, man. That boy need to pull his socks down and sit his ass down. You know what I'm saying? Like I said before. NFC title game going to be Dallas versus New Orleans. Might be. I mean, Mike McCartney might turn him around. I can see that. Mike McKenzie was trash and he had bad knees. I don't want to say he was trash. I mean, he had some good games. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints go 14-2, but if not, too many injuries. Once again, I apologize for yawning, folks. Just been a long day. I wasn't even born when the Saints when the Cowboys won their last Super Bowl. Yeah, man. They suck. They suck. Overrated, overhyped. Please sit your behind down. I don't want to curse too many times. He's a funny but true take. In 2009, the Saints versus Fins, I was at a local bar, and this diehard called everybody and their mammy to come to the bar. Bar packed with Fins fans. We won. Afterwards, crickets. Yeah, that was like that's like that game when Dallas Cowboys played against the Minnesota Vikings that time back in 2009. That was hilarious. So let me set it up. So, of course, it was the wild card round, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was the divisional round. Excuse me, because the Cowboys just beat the Philadelphia Eagles. So me and my big brother, we decided to go to Buffalo Wild Wings because at this time, you know what I'm saying, the Saints, they beat, you know, no, did they? 2009. No, they just knocked off the Arizona Cardinals. Okay, so they beat the Arizona Cardinals. Me and my big brother, you know what I'm saying, we had Buffalo Wild Wings, the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Minnesota Vikings with Brett Favre, and you had all these Cowboy fans in here. And my brother had his Reggie Bush jersey on, and they're like, "We coming to New Orleans next week. We coming to New Orleans next week." Because y'all know, like, when the Saints won 13 straight, they lost to the Cowboys, right? So Cowboy fans up in there, you know what I'm saying, they hype because they scored first, and here they come again. Man, we coming to see y'all. Y'all better be ready. Y'all better be ready. So all of a sudden, Brett Favre and the Minnesota Vikings get hyped. And they absolutely destroy the Dallas Cowboys. And I must say, it felt so doggone good to see the Dallas Cowboys eat so much crow because everybody knows that the Dallas Cowboy fans are the most obnoxious fans in NFL history. Okay, still living off them Super Bowls like they just won one last week, but they done absolutely nothing for the last 25, 26 years. So I was happy to see that, and it gave me great joy to watch the anguish and the disappointment and the defeat on the Dallas Cowboy fans' faces when the Minnesota Vikings destroyed them boys at Buffalo Wild Wings. Oh my goodness. Hate the Cowboys. Cowboy fans brought out the French quarters, and the 49ers fans brought out the French quarters. I heard. Yeah, man, that second line that the Cowboy fans did, they came on through, got their ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? I think the Falcon fans did. I don't want to say the Falcon fans did the same thing. It was another group that did the same thing, and the Saints whooped their ass too. Man, the one team we ain't lose to is the Vikings. Yeah, man, we can't lose to the Vikings. I agree with that. And when the Cowboy fans lost to the Vikings, the hype became silent. Absolutely, man. That was great. TJ, you know more football than me. Why does Drew disappear in the playoffs? Is it the D we play against, or does he shrink? I don't know, man. I will say this, Iceman T. Teams play their best defense in the playoffs. That's when teams buckle down and they become more disciplined because they understand. Iceman is kind of like, when you just take a regular test during a year, you might not study as well. You know what I'm saying? You might say, I know this material a little bit. I might, skim through a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Try to get this C or this B or whatever, But when it comes to midterms and when it comes to finals, when it takes up the majority of your grade, you're gonna buckle down and start studying. You're gonna burn the midnight oil. So it's kind of the same way in the playoffs. Teams study Drew Brees' tendencies. They study what he does, you know what I'm saying, and they try to neutralize him. So a lot of teams just do a good job at capitalizing on the fact that Drew Brees isn't that tall and his arm strength has diminished. So yeah, the reason why he shrank is because teams play better in the playoffs. Could it be the scheme? Or is it the blueprint? Yeah, it's the blueprint. It's the blueprint, man. And the Falcons gave teams the blueprint. Another great topic would be the most jaw-dropping, wood-laying slobber knockers hits by a Saints player. Yeah, I mean, that's a good topic, Troy. But, like I said, it might come on down the line, but I definitely got to get these cornerbacks and these quarterbacks up out of the way. I have a friend who's a diehard Cowgirl fan, and he's always bragging about them 5 rings. I said to him, the last time Cowboys won a ring, my son was living in a town called Nutsville. He wasn't born yet. Yeah, man, the Cowboy fans, they always bringing up them 5 Super Bowls, man. But I'm like, what have you done for me lately? Which is absolutely nothing, Dwayne. So call them losers out. Jason David, apparently, that's your vote for the worst cornerback in history. We shall see. Who is the most overrated superstar to you? To me, it's Aaron Rodgers. Dude had a garbage attitude. His play is inconsistent, and he is a coach killer. The most overrated quarterback to me, a player, period. The most overrated player to me has got to be, I don't want to say it's Aaron Rodgers. I have to say Eli Manning. Eli Manning was overrated to me. He won those 2 Super Bowls, but he didn't really do much in the regular season except throw interceptions. And I know it's blasphemous for us to talk about Mannings or whatever like that, but I still feel like he was just overrated. That pass to David Tyree where the referee should have blew the whistle because he was stopped and the defensive end, kind of backed off on him, because, he didn't want to get no flag. I mean, it was just a straight fluke. I mean, he played good in the playoffs, but in the regular season, he trashed. I don't feel like he gonna be like a surefire Hall of Famer. He probably gonna be one of those guys that end up getting the Hall of Fame like 5, 10 years. About 10, 15 years down the line. If Drew wins the chip, what does he fall all time? Is that enough to go ahead of Peyton and Favre or Elway? Yep, it does. If he wins another ring, he's not gonna go past Peyton, but he definitely will go past Favre and Elway, which I already feel like he was a better quarterback than those guys as far as decision making, not arm strength, not arm talent, but he was better than Favre. I don't know about Elway. I'd rather play Baltimore in the Super Bowl because all we got to do is stop the run and it's a wrap. They don't have a good passing game and all to come back when they are down big. Yeah, it's hard for them to come back when they down big. Lamar Jackson got to prove he can play in the playoffs, man. I mean, all them regular season numbers is cool, but it matters what you do in the playoffs. Matt Ryan is overrated. Blank Man J5. I don't think Matt Ryan is overrated. I think that he's a good quarterback. You know, Matt Ryan does some good things, and I know it's blasphemous for us to talk about Matt Ryan, you know what I'm saying, being that he plays for that team, but I got a lot of respect for Matt Ryan as a quarterback. You know, I just feel like his team kind of let him down, and some of the play calling in that Super Bowl game kind of cost him, you know. Not using Devontae Freeman instead of Tevin Coleman, who wasn't really doing too much anything. They ended up taking him out of the game. You know what I'm saying? They ended up taking out Devontae Freeman, which I really just didn't understand. That's why I don't understand all the Bucks hype. Last time Bucks made the playoff, Obama wasn't even president yet. Smartphones wasn't even invented yet. For real. Well, you know what I'm saying? The Bucks, of course, they're going to have hype because they got Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. So I understand the hype, but I do feel like you have to prove it on the field. Even though Brady has proven that he can win championships, he got 6 of them. Don't mean that that's going to, come to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and they just going to automatically become a Super Bowl contender. Aaron Rodgers is overrated. I don't want to say Aaron Rodgers is overrated. I feel like Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback. I just feel like he has an ego, and sometimes the ego gets the best of him, and sometimes he can be hard to deal with. But as far as arm talent, as far as like getting the ball where it needs to be, as far as skills, he got it all. So I wouldn't mind having him in the Saints uniform. Drew Brees can't even get 2 rings. That remains to be seen. As long as Drew Brees is in the league, as long as he's a quarterback for the Saints have opportunity to win the Super Bowl because of his skills, because of his poise, because of his accuracy. So I won't put it past him. Boy, the Giants D-line in 2008 was amazing. Justin Tuck, Strahan, O.C. Umenyiora, and those big ass D tackles. Yeah. They had a good front, you know what I'm saying? They was able to get pressure on the quarterback. Of course, you had the you know what I'm saying, like you had like, Matthias Kiwanuka and all them other guys out there, you know what I'm saying? They had some good players out there, you know what I'm saying? Corey Webster, LSU, great, you know what I'm saying? Like they had a lot of good players on that team, and they buckled down at the end. And they made a really good run. You know what I'm saying? We never seen anything like that. A team that just kind of fell ass backwards into the playoffs and just play as good as they have. So shouts out to that Giants team. Real good. You may hate the Cowboys, but I don't mind them. So because they were the only hope back in the day that could beat the 49ers. Our true second rival after the Stank Falcons. Yeah, people hate the Cowboys, and they love to see the Saints beat the Cowboys. Do you like Ryan Leaf? Hells to the nah. Bust. Bust University. Ryan Leaf was trash. I think if the Saints fall short this season, we should demand Sean Payton to have a public press conference so the fans can voice their opinions. What you think? That would be nice, but we all know that's not going to happen. You know, like nobody, like Sean Payton is not going to sit up there and, allow the fans to steamroll over him. after a devastating loss. But I do feel like if this keep on happening, I think we need to kind of reevaluate where Sean Payton is, and we have to answer the question: is he able to bring us another Super Bowl? Brady been through some wars. I can't lie. Yeah, he definitely been through some wars. I got a lot of respect for Tom Brady. And I get it, folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a level of envy from some of the members of the Who Dat Nation. Some of us are just upset because, you know what I'm saying, he bringing so much excitement to the Tampa fan base. I mean, just think about it, folks. These folks didn't have nothing to chill about for a long time. I mean, missing the playoffs year after year, whiffing on quarterbacks year after year, not having a running game, not having a defense since the Tampa 2 was in there. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand why they're so excited about Tom Brady coming, but still, you know what I'm saying? It's not about what a team got. It's about winning. It's about executing on the field. You know what I'm saying? It looked good on paper, but what can you do on the field? Brady gonna see what it's like to play in a tough conference. Yeah, I mean he basically had a cakewalk in the AFC East or the AFC least. And Brady is clutch. I ain't got a problem giving his GOAT quarterback status over Breeze. Yeah, man, he pretty clutch, man. It's not gonna be easy for the Saints as people making it out to be, man. This is Tom Brady we talking about. Ain't gonna lie, I don't think Drew would have come back down 28-3. I'm being honest. I used to argue Drew over Brady, but Tom is just on another level. Tom Brady, to me, is arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Is he better than Drew Brees in crucial situation? Yes, he is. Is he more accurate than Drew Brees? No. Does he have better arm strength than Drew Brees? Yes. So Drew Brees has all the records. This is like Terry Bradshaw and Ken Anderson in the 70s. Ken Anderson was the best statistical quarterback of the 70s with the Cincinnati Bengals. He had the highest completion percentage. He had the most yards. He had the most touchdowns. But when it came to winning championships, Terry Bradshaw was the guy. So this kind of reminds me of that. Now, Ken Anderson never won a Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals, but he had like all the records. So it kind of reminds me of that. You know, that's what Drew Brees was. He's the modern day Ken Anderson with a Super Bowl. Brady played in a garbage ass AFC and his whole life, and he was in the division with the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets, guaranteed 6 wins every year. I agree with that. I agree with that one. What if Breeze gets his second ring, but it's a situation how Wentz got his? How do you then view him? You still view him as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Look, there's nothing else Drew Brees can do, you know what I'm saying, to put him more in the conversation. Maybe win another Super Bowl, people would be like, he you know what I'm saying, he one of the best. He's still one of the best, and people consider him that way. So I don't feel like a Super Bowl would solidify him being one of the best, you know what I'm saying, but it would like put him past some individuals that the media might have ahead of him. That's it. In your opinion, do you think Demario Davis is underrated? Yes, I do. Because every time they mention the best linebackers, they always leave him out. Yeah, he definitely underrated as a linebacker, one of the best. He was, you know what I'm saying, ranked right under like the best linebacker that people consider in Bobby Wagner. So I think he pretty doggone good, but he plays for the Saints, so the Saints don't really get that much attention. So you know they're going to give it to Philadelphia Eagles, Cowboys, and all these other linebackers before they give it to Demario. Yo, TJ, I watched the KC 2019 season on YouTube, and honestly, I realized teams do not accidentally fall into the Super Bowl. You have to be special. Saints need to be special. Well, Tim, check this out, man. The Kansas City Chiefs, they did fall kind of ass backwards into the Super Bowl. Majority of the games that they played in the divisional and the AFC Championship game, they were behind in the game. You know what I'm saying? The teams were getting the best of them, but they took advantage of a home field advantage. And I would be interested to know, in a climate like this with the coronavirus, would they have made the Super Bowl? You know, I feel like the fans kind of gave them the extra spark in order for them to, you know what I'm saying, be able to finish the game. So I'm interested on a mutual site. Would they be able to make the Super Bowl? They definitely took advantage of their home field advantage. And let's not act like Brady didn't get bailed out by defense and special teams in Super Bowl, in some of his Super Bowls. Yeah, man. Adam Vinatieri won like 2 of them from that Super Bowl that they won against the Rams, that fluke ass Super Bowl that they had where the Saints should have been in there. They won with their defense. So you're definitely right about that. You know, Tom Brady played just enough, you know what I'm saying, to get the job done, though. You know, so can't knock him for that. Y'all just don't know that back in the day, Cowboys were not so hated in New Orleans. Believe it or not, I think I might know why they became hated. Well, I think it has a lot to do with the Saints, you know, emerging as one of the NFL elites right now. We all know that some of these New Orleans Saints fans, at the, you know, at some time they were a Dallas Cowboy fan, because growing up as a kid in the 90s, people didn't get Saints starter jackets. They used to get the 49ers starter jackets. They used to get the Dallas Cowboys starter jackets. So it was kind of an embarrassing thing for you to like the New Orleans Saints. People used to pick other teams. So that probably has something to do with it, you know, that you have now a successful Saints team and people are starting to percolate up, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, looking at the Saints, and they like to defend them. So that, I think that has a lot to do with it. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Going into the 2020 season, what do you think is the worst projected starter out of these? Mitchell Trubisky, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm gonna go with Mitchell Trubisky. I want to see what Dwayne Haskins can do in the second season. Drew Lock, he needs an opportunity, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, always good for at least about 4 or 5 games, just not as your starting quarterback. Brady has had over 16 top 10 scoring defenses his whole career under Belichick. I respect Tom Brady, but he didn't do it all on his own. I'm just saying. Well, nobody do it on their own, man. It's a quarterback, you know what I'm saying, driven league, they say. But at the same time, this is a team sport. It don't get more team oriented than the NFL. Okay, it don't get more team oriented than that. Okay, so I think that, you know, it has a lot to do with the defense, yes, but it has a lot to do with them playing team football as well. Funniest moment in Saints history is when Tom Benson thought we had the field goal before seconds later he realized we missed it. Yeah, that was a game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, that was pretty doggone funny. Randall Cunningham, what do you think about him? Randall Cunningham, one of the best quarterbacks of his generation. I remember on Sports Illustrated, they said that he was the ultimate weapon, and he would have been if it wasn't for that devastating knee injury that he sustained in the early 90s. So I think he was pretty doggone good. Breeze only had 4 top 10 scoring defenses. On top of that, he had 4 historically bad defenses in 12, 14, 15, and 16 from the Bounty Gate setback. Yeah, man, Drew Brees never really had an elite defense. Interested to see what they would actually do. I feel like they would win the Super Bowl if they had an elite defense. But, I mean, honestly, they got to, you know what I'm saying, they never going to have an elite shutdown defense until Drew Brees leave, because he taking up the majority of the money. Saints gonna split with Tampa. I believe that. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we swept them. I don't think we're gonna sweep them. Tim says, I know what you mean, TJ, because they rallied them, but do that 3 times. That's much more than a coincidence. Like coming back that fast, the seed of the power of the team. Saints keep taking L's. Yeah, at home. Yeah, they definitely be taking them L's at home. I feel like that home field advantage is slowly starting to dwindle. Drew needs more than one ring to be talked about like Brady. Yep, that's true. We're sweeping Bucks like we always do. I don't know about that. I mean, if Sean Payton can call out the butcher and the car driver, maybe he can explain that questionable ass play call. Uh, just saying, TJ, no one in the building will call him out. So it's up to us. Yeah, man, nobody want to call him out. Nobody want to say Sean Payton screwing up. Nobody want to say that Sean Payton cost the Saints the game. But that's what I'm here for. I definitely will say it if he mess up. I'm still young. I've been a Saints fan since Ricky Williams. Well, you know what I'm saying? That ain't bad. What, that about 98 or something like that? So I'm glad that you're here, man. I mean, we're all Saints fan. I think we all became Saints fan in certain eras of our life, some different from others. So thank you very much for being a part of Who That Nation. I'm about to go ahead and read this last one right here, and then we're going to call it a night, folks. I apologize that my energy isn't up. I mentioned this early in the day. I'm just kind of tired. Been up since like 4:30 this morning. Brian says, what do you think about Dan Marino and Joe Montana and John Elway? In your opinion, do you think Drew Brees be someday like that one day as good as they were after his career is over? I feel like he can surpass Dan Marino, unfortunately, because Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl. He's not getting past Joe Montana. John Elway is a stretch. He might be like, you know what I'm saying, like lined up or equal to John Elway, but I don't think he's gonna surpass John Elway. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. And be sure that you check out the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube. YouTube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the worst cornerbacks in Saints history. Coming up, round 3, we got Jason Smoke Turkey David, Fred Thomas, and Brandon Browner. One of these 3 cornerbacks are going to be labeled the worst cornerback in Saints history. But once again, check us out, Facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Check out the audio version on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your streams from, and also on Alexa. Just say, Alexa, play the State of the Saints podcast, and you'll get the most recent episode. So once again, thank you all very much. I really appreciate your time. And like always, all I got to say is, who dat? Good night, everybody.